I think this camera's rolling, and this is another video of Tara, the unloved Silverado truck. It's going to be a brief video. I sprayed the insides of the doors and the jams. She's not done yet. And then I wanted to go over something before we go out to the truck. I'm going to light one of my poisonous cigarettes here. I just welded this, if anybody can look, and then this is what the final product is after you weld in a patch. I got another fender, I wasn't happy with it. And then I got this fender, which was in much better shape. And I wanted to explain to people, when you have rusted parts like these, if you can hear it clinking, this is not the stuff to use, because it never dries and it absorbs moisture. I don't know why they ever made it. It's paintable and it makes it look nice and black, and you can paint it. But it never cures, because most products for curing, like this one, they use a xylene. I have xylene. Maybe I should get a can out, because a lot of people don't know what these chemicals are that we use. They have numbers on them. Basically, this stuff is a xylene. Shopline 506. That's a high-strength xylene. This is a medium strength, a medium dryer, and that's why they have those numbers on the can. You see right below Xyleno and xylene, you see the 1548684. That tells you what strength it is. It's a weak xylene. It's good enough for cleaning your paint gun, and it's good enough if you coat, say with this product, the truck bed coating, it'll actually harden it if you spray it clear. You just dump it in your paint gun and shoot it over this stuff. It makes it, it'll make it rutsy and runny or whatever. It might do that for a moment. And then you spray a coat as it's drying of this stuff over it, and it dries like a freaking rock. The other thing is, the tools of these trades are the cutting wheels and different grinders and stuff like this is going to get ground and maybe even sandblasted. But I take where those little rust pits are forming and stuff, and then I'll sand them a little bit smooth as best I can. You'll never get a used fender as good as anything, that's new or whatever. But you can get them damn close, unless you're going to be a real expert and a ball buster in a shop using used fenders in some commercial shop and whipping some poor wetback to get it perfect. You never do get them perfect. But a patch like this, I'll put fiberglass over it, and then I'll use my my body panel glue. That's why I haven't opened it, because at the time I start shooting this stuff with finish coats, like the other fender was shot, and like the bottom of this door, I used one tube up already at $15, $20 a tube, which a lot of places they get $40, $50, $60 for a tube of this shit. They're conning people, but you can get it. I can get it if anybody has any questions. So take a look at that. Here's the state that Tara ended up in. I wanted to. It's beer 30. I'm having a happy day, and then I'm going to explain about this stuff. There's how Tara sits now. And this is the reason I didn't use the other fender I got. It was all wet and muddy, and I had a couple of minutes to do something and get the fender off before the place closed. And then when I got it home, it just literally, once it dried out in the shop, that's why you got to dry your parts out. That's why you don't really paint a truck outside per se. You sit it inside for a while, and then you look at what you got. This has some issues. I'll straighten it out and sell it to somebody. Tara's gotten raised up. She's gotten the right wheels. Don't run 4-ply tires when you have a lift kit. And we're getting ready to scrape the frame down and start stripping her down. That's just coming in a couple of minutes. There's why we need fenders, and you can see the rocker panels are just literally disintegrating. This poor thing, it's been abused, and it's going to get some framework done to it, some plating, and I'm going to do that. So to explain to you folks the last deal on these Silverado trucks and how to restore them, you don't put this in. This is the fender on the passenger side. I don't know where this trash, it's been high winds here. Other people's trash is blowing over here, except for that bag, that's mine. This is where the computer box sits, where all your network is, your interface for your fuses and stuff like this. That's where this stuff comes in. I have a wider roll. This is just per se. This is peel and stick. Maybe I did have too many. I only had 3 freaking beers. That's a... Wow. This is peel and stick. I use it on roofing. Make a note of it. It's sticky, both sides. That's why I'm not touching it. I'm going to use the wider stuff. And I'm going to put that up top over here where this thing is getting wet. And I'm going to wipe my body glue in there. And then I'm going to go over it with this after the epoxy prime. We're going to epoxy prime it and then shoot this on it. And then we're going to shoot our color. And we're making sure the seam where they tend to want to rust along these seams where these spot welds are, we're going to fill that with primer. And we're going to coat right up to it with this stuff and then shoot over it with our color. And that is how you restore vehicles. It's how the pros restore vehicles, because a lot of people don't understand how you go from this where you got all this shit. Well, you got to go over it with something, and if you want to grind it down for aesthetics and for maybe antique value, a lot of trucks, there are no parts available. Matter of fact, my buddy's doing a 49 Ford, and there's just certain stuff that's not available. So you got to kind of scale and weld in and then just putty over it, and you don't keep them outside or whatever. Now this will go outside. This is well enough, but that's what we ended up with. The Tara, the Silverado truck, her doors, the jambs are primed. I have 2 other doors. They're downstairs. It's getting to be a clusterfuck. The weather is just not cooperating. It's raining every other day. It's typical April. Don't rush your project. Be patient. You'll live to see the day that your truck goes together. Say Bubba. And anyway, I got litter boxes to clean. Here's another place where you can use not this, but this. After your fender's primered, you tape this off, this area, inside and out. Spray it all up into the inner fender well, and primer as well. Get this all primed, because these are the areas where these trucks start rotting. I have yet to do this area right here. I'm critical about this, because I seal this up real good. It'll stop the rust in its tracks. The fender I just got off today. As you can see, it has dirt in it. So I'm going to wait till it sits in the shop here a couple of days, because it is supposed to warm up. It's April. It only gets warmer from here. And that dirt, I can blow it out of there with a blowgun. And then when my primer goes in there, it basically makes a hermetic seal with the paint and this stuff. Not this stuff. So remember my video that this crap, that absorbs moisture. So for a slap together video, I'll show you what this paint, with this battery tray, what this will turn out like. As you can see, it's just drying out. When rust is wet, you can see the darker colors. Okay, this will be all brown in the corners there. That's all wet yet. And I went to the salvage yard at 8 o'clock this morning. Okay, it's now almost 3:30 in the afternoon. It's beer 30. It's after hours. That's why when I make these videos and have a beer, talk to people and tell them about restoring these. These Silverados are worth their weight in gold. It's just that they got frame rot. They got body rot issues. This one was used pretty hard, but like I said, they put a new transmission and a new motor in it. And then they just decided to sell it because the body decided to fall apart. So I'm out there scrounging in these pull-it yards for decent fenders and panels and stuff like that. And every now and then, that's what you end up with out in those yards like that, is a fender that it looked like something until it dried out. That spent about a week in the shop, and it just literally started disintegrating. So I'll have to weld metal in. Basically, these were just little pinholes. These weren't really bad, but you go over the area, and then you put your seam sealers and stuff in here, your body glues, and then you go over everything. And that way the stuff doesn't start rotting to hell. And then your bolts and stuff where there was rot in that, I'm going to go over that a little bit more. Might even put some metal etch and stuff in it to clear it out. So I don't know how technical you guys want, but I like my trucks. I have 2 of them now. They're going to live on forever, probably as long as I'm alive. And this is what we go through. And some of the tools of the trade, the body putty. Look at what my workbench looks like. I promised Ray Bucks I was going to mention them, by the way. At the end of this, I forgot completely about it. It wasn't intentional. If anybody wants body panels and stuff for these Chevy trucks, this is actually the place to get them. I was disappointed in the slip-on rockers. Don't order them until they improve them. Good company. I always get really heavy gauge panels. This is part of a panel. Always save your body panels and what you don't use of them. Any body panel, you're not going to use all of it. Look at that. Look at the heavy thickness of that. Decent panel from them. Like I said, I've only ever bought one product for them, and that was the slip-on rockers, and I'm very disappointed in them. But other than that, you know, every company, even me, I'm a company, and every now and then somebody says, well, I was a little disappointed in what you had to do or you offered. But that's a place right there. You can get the phone numbers off of it. And their website right there, raybucks.com. raybuck.com. So, good company. Most of the stuff I get from them is really good, and it's really affordable. So, thanks.